Hello, I'm Mirella.
Hello, I'm Zoe. Welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast.
Our latest obsession has been a TBL called Dangerous Romance. The episodes are free to watch on YouTube. There will be spoilers, so you should definitely go and watch the series before listening to us fangirl about it.
A little disclaimer, this will contain our personal opinions, random thoughts, and theories. There will be cursing. Also, be aware that topics may be adult in nature and alcohol may be involved.
Our laughter will be painful to listen to, but bear with us. Our last podcast was a reaction to episode 5 of Dangerous Romance, and we want to talk about it some more.
If you're still with us after all us, come and join us on our downward spiral into our obsessions.
So, I see what they did there with the previews at the start of the episode. Did you notice? There's a lot of info. A lot.
Oh, like where they did the previously on or something.
Yeah.
I will confess, except for watching someone else react to it, I haven't rewatched the episode. So
Oh my god.
I know, right? So so my response, my interpretation is still fairly based on that first view, but just with me just thinking about it, you know.
I have watched it like 4 times at least, each part.
Well, in my defense, I've spent a lot of the last few days semi-comatose. And then of course I started watching something new, as you do. But
Mm.
back to Dangerous Romance. Yeah, they're clever when they do stuff like that. So they stacked it with her. So they were giving us a clue without giving us a clue.
Reminding us of all the moments we had with her. And also, the first thing that we see is with Kang speaking to his grandma, a continuation of their conversation from episode 4. And while they're speaking, this melody plays. Actually, it's the OST, the new OST song.
Oh, okay, the one that they both sing together.
Yeah.
I have some things to say about that. I went back and watched it, but we can talk about that after.
So they talk about how his dad doesn't have expectations for him, and I'm happy that he shared with her
Yeah,
because at
me
least
too.
he does someone. It explains why he is the way he is. He knows how to share his feelings, and it's probably due to him communicating well with his grandma.
Yeah, it's like he only has grandma. And I mean, honestly, if we all had grandma in our corners, we'd all be doing pretty good. I feel like he deserves a little bit of a slap because he has privilege and grandma. And that's more than most of us.
She wants him to get into a good uni and prove
Mm.
his father that he can achieve anything he sets his heart on. And then she's like, "You must really love this friend of yours." And he's like, "I don't love him." And stop his mouth so that he can't talk anymore.
I know, right? That bit was so funny. I was just like, oh, grandma knows. She has to know, right? Like, seriously, if it comes down to it later on and they're like, and she plays shocked, I'm gonna call bullshit. I'm gonna be like, why? Why would you do that to us, GMM? She clearly knows.
Like, she should know, but at the same time, would she invite Salome into their house if she
Well,
knew?
I mean, I did think that too, but clearly that boy needs love. So, she
Clearly,
loves
he
him.
becomes better when Salome is around and he needs him.
Exactly. So maybe grandma can see that it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And it's not like she stuck them in the same room or anything, just with an adjoining bathroom. Easy sneak access in the middle of the night.
And then we see the scene where that's a continuation of Kang inviting Salome into the house, basically. And
Mm.
he's spacing out because he's thinking about his grandma's words. That's probably the first time he's actually questioning his feelings for Salome.
Yeah. Well, that's right. He was totally out of it, thinking about love and Salome in the same sentence, essentially. So, and then we had the whole that whole bit in the bedroom was just super adorable. This
But isn't it funny how he was spacing out and then Salome hit him with a pillow and suddenly he forgot every worry. Like he was enjoying himself. He was there with Salome and they're so natural with each other. He
Yeah,
doesn't need to think when he's with Salome. Everything just comes natural, right?
that's right. It's easy. there's no like, because you know it's funny. Um, our earlier conversation, which had nothing to do with dangerous romance, but we were talking about seeing those dark underbelly bits of each other. You know, all the worst bits, all the best bits, and sometimes you know like sometimes you uniquely go into a relationship where you see all that shit before it even happens, and usually it's a deeper relationship because you already know the worst bits about somebody, but you still think they're worth the effort, you still love them no matter what, sort of thing. Whereas like other times we go into a relationship and we don't know any of that stuff. You learn that along the way, and you work out whether or not you can embrace those imperfections, whether or not you can accept those things about people. And sometimes you can't. Like sometimes there's, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, it's a deal breaker, you know, depending on what that thing is or whatever. And they've already done that. They've already seen all the worst bits of each other, and neither of them have backed away. Like they're still there, they're still turning up, they're still, you know, helping one another. And so it's so easy for them to be together. So there's less, like at this point in time before they start getting shady and kind of realizing that they're having feelings, or at least, you know, like actually accepting the fact that they're having feelings. Um, there's no, you know, awkwardness or no need to think or feel uncomfortable about anything. They just, that's it, this is, you know, it's like, this is who I am, you already know that, now let's just have fun, or let's, you know, just be together or whatever. Whereas everyone else, he puts this front on, Kang, I mean.
I feel like for Salam, him accepting to move into Kang's house is like accepting his feelings for himself.
I think so too. I think, yeah, well, it's pretty obvious that Salom has already accepted that he's having these feelings. And
No,
in
I
this
mean this is the moment that he accepts Kang's feelings. Like this is not the moment he
oh,
takes Kang's feelings seriously. Like he
yeah.
starts considering that this boy probably likes me and he's actually going to be there for me, and maybe I should
Ah,
trust him. Maybe I should let him take care of me because
yeah.
that's what he needs in his life, right? Someone to
Yeah.
take care of him, to be there for him so that he can relax and not be this adult that has to
Yeah,
worry about
not be so,
everything.
that's right. So, and that's also, that fits to what I was saying too about, you know, like Kang can just be himself without having to wear the mask that he shows everyone else. And Salom the same, because Salom has this different persona with everybody too, because no one sees his vulnerable side. He doesn't show that to anybody. To everyone else, he's like his friends, he's like the hero, he's like the perfect student, he's like the hard worker, he's, you know, the mature one, like whatever. He's all these things, and like the only person he gets a little bit silly around or lets his guard down with is Kang. So yeah. And yeah, you're right. I do see that, because you see in this episode, I feel like what you're saying is true, but it's also true that he's accepting his feelings too, because he
Yeah,
we
for
and
sure. Yeah.
we see that spotted through the episode, you know, like him going
Him
home.
be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna try it. Maybe something good comes out of it because it's so easy because of their power imbalance of what and the history of how they came to this point. It's so, it would be so easy to be cynical and be like, this is not gonna work out, and
Hmm.
I'm just gonna get my heart broken, right? But he just in this episode he completely opened his heart.
Yeah, and
So
it's so unlike him to do that too. Because if you think about like his circumstances and the way he looks at things, and the one of the reasons why he's so easy, it's so easy for him to like get one up on Kang in the beginning when he's bullying him, and that is because he is kind of cynical, and he he's like already like two steps ahead. He's thinking the worst. Like he doesn't trust, he didn't trust him. He knew he was like trying to get at him, and he was just smarter. You know what I mean? So, but like in this, he's not smarter. Like he's let himself be vulnerable, as you said, and it's like he's not even thinking about the fact that, like, it's almost like he hasn't occurred to him that, you know, like this is not something that he can have. Like in general, in his life, in his daily life, like he keeps coming up against all these things that he can't have because, you know,
and he's
money,
so aware of
situation,
it. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, that's right. Like he's so aware of his situation and the realities of it. But like it's like he never, it's like he doesn't even occur to him that he can't have Kang. Like, this is something he thinks he can have. And in his defense, I completely understand why, because that boy is like flirting 24/7. Um, he's like so fucking hopeless because he has no idea what he's doing. And it's just, yeah.
It's easy for him to do that, to be like that, because he doesn't understand what he's doing.
Yeah. It's just, it feels right. That's why. It just feels right. It feels comfortable, feels good, makes him happy. He's not really thinking too deep about it. And it's probably as well because there's freedom in that. There's freedom in being with Salom and being able to be himself and not have to worry about all those things. But also, when he is concentrating on stuff, he's concentrating on his studies. So he's focused on, like, his hard thought is not on his life as such. It's on, his study and stuff. So I think we can forgive him for being a little bit oblivious.
Then we had the moment on the bed.
Yeah, seriously. It's our
That
first sort of
moment.
semi awkward moment.
Did you notice Kang was the one who was moving closer and closer and closer?
Mm. Yeah, he's always getting into Salom's space. He's the first to move in, and I noticed because I was when I watched because I watched the OST for the listeners. I watched the OST, the one that they sing together, because I thought that we should talk about it when we did this today, because I feel like it goes with episode 5. It shows up the first time in episode 5. It made sense to talk about it now. So I went and I watched it because I hadn't actually seen the film clip properly, and I wanted to read the lyrics and stuff. And there was a couple of scenes in it that I wanted to see if they were from a certain scene that I'd seen in the trailer. They weren't. They're from different. They're either manufactured for the music video, or it's just something we haven't seen yet that's going to happen. But when I was rewatching the trailer, there's a couple of things that are going to happen in the future. Like, if everyone's seen the trailer, you would know this. There's a bit where they're riding in the back of the car, like going to school or coming. I think it must be coming home from school because I think it's dark. It looks like it's dark in the
Mm.
car.
Or maybe they're
Um,
in a tunnel. I think there
yeah,
was a tunnel.
maybe a tunnel, yeah. And it's, like, one of them is like puts his little finger, pinky, over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other one's, like links pinky, and it's Kang. Like, it's Kang who does that. And then there's the bit where he kisses him on the cheek, and there's like, it's always seems to be, in this instance anyway, like in all the bits that we've seen, it always seems to be Kang that's taking that step forward, which is funny because he's so like oblivious at the moment. But so, like, when you have these moments like on the bed where he's like moving closer, it's like, at this point I think he's doing it unconsciously. Like, I don't think he realizes he's doing it. I think
Yeah,
he just, naturally is like gravitating towards him because it's safe, and he likes being in the orbit of him, so.
and he only snaps out of it and starts actually realizing what he's doing when Salon breaks the moment.
Mm,
And I like the way Perth played it. The
mm,
way he takes that rapid breath and moves awkwardly, repeating these gestures with his hands, and it's like trying to reset himself. And it's like he's thinking, like, "Oh my God, this was intense. What the hell was this?"
yeah.
Like he actually needs a moment to get a hold of himself. I love how he played it.
Yeah, I feel like it's, at this part as well, with they were really clever. They are starting to give us clues and things like that, and they have shown us like clues, like pretty much from the start of the series, in regards to, like, how he thinks his life is going to go, and things like that. And you can kind of understand, like, we had lots of discussions about this episode after it first happened. Like, we did our podcast, and then I think we talked for like another, what, hour or something. I don't know, it was really late. I remember thinking, wow, yeah, I should be sleeping. But we we still had a lot to say, so we kept talking about it. And then I think the next day we talked about it, because you were a little unhappy, I think. Not unhappy with the episode, but you were not sure where they were going. And we talked about it
What do
a
you mean?
lot. Um where you thought about Pimfar liking Kang coming sort of out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, I still think that's not what's actually happening.
You're like, it's a ruse. She's actually an alien. No. But yeah, so but we know we talked about it a lot and everything. And I feel like, you know, we have to you see it in this, like, he's aware but he's not. It's like he's shaken, and I think it's because he's never really like, we don't know what his sexuality is. We don't know how they're going to play that in this show. We don't know whether they're just like not going to talk about it at all, which is fine because that's a legitimate way to do it as well. But not everybody, has a coming out or assigns something, to themselves. So
Hmm.
that's all legitimate. So we may never, like, it may not even be a discussion that happens. But he clearly, from the conversation they have when people start talking about dreams and futures and that, he has already in his mind for a long time, this is how his life is going to go. There's no deviations from this path. So, regardless of how he feels things like whatever, it hasn't occurred to him that he can deviate from that path. Like, it's just not something that he's even really thought about. And I feel like he's the kind of personality that he really doesn't seem interested in, like, I mean, we've only got like such a small snippet of him, and most of that was him bullying other guys. Um, and I feel like there's a little bit of like some sort of something that we could do commentary on about that. But anyway, we're not really seeing him have any interest in sort of like much of anything. You know what I mean? Like, so not girls, not dating, not, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's almost like he's never really thought about it. But if you pushed him to think about it, he tells you what, like, he tells Salom what he thinks his future is going to look like, or not.
What's the point in wanting something, right?
That's right. So why bother?
If you
And
decide it
instead,
anyway.
yeah, instead he's been, and I almost wonder if it's a subconscious thing on his part. This, him acting out and him trying desperately to get his father to notice him and have some expectations outside of these fixed ones that he already knows exist, because deep down he knows he can't actually fulfill those ones. You know what I mean? Like, there's this, I feel like there's a possibility there that he's being desperate to try and achieve some sort of acceptance, and do something that would make him proud, or like whatever, so that he has something to bargain with later on when he doesn't want to follow these other expectations. Does that make any sense? Am I just rambling?
I don't know. You need to
I'm
see.
yeah, I'm like, you meant to reassure me. I'm like, for those listening at home, it is 1:30 in the morning here. So anyway, on a school night, kids. I mean, well, work, same difference. But yeah, let's continue on, because obviously that expectations conversation will come up as we move through your
So
notes.
we find out about the secret bathroom. It was kind of obvious that they're going to have something connecting them in that house, some secret passage that they can
their
use to get to each
wardrobes,
other.
their wardrobes are a doorway to Narnia. No, I was really expecting. I honestly, I don't know why, but like in that scene where Salom like hits Kang with the pillow before all the like weirdness on the bed and stuff,
Mhm.
my first thought was like, surely they're not sharing a room, right? Because I was like, they have
That would be
money.
too much.
I mean, they have money. There must be more bedrooms in this place. I'm like, come on, grandma. Like, I know, like, I know you're cool and everything, but this is a bit much. They lift up the pillows and there's a chocolate anaconda. I'm just like, what's going on? Um, but of course, obviously, they're not sharing a room because that would be fucking weird. I mean, it's not weird because obviously, I mean, I slept with friends, in the same bed in high school and stuff like that. That's not necessarily a weird thing. And we've seen in other dramas, boys sleeping in the same bed, and not like potential love interest, but like friends as well. So it's not a weird thing. But like in a house like that, where they probably have like more bedrooms than like Salom has rooms in his actual house.
It's
Yeah.
kind of symbolic that they have a joint bathroom because I think there are rooms in that house that are not connected that he could use. But it's like if you're accepted into this house, if you move into this house, it's not only the house that you get, it's not only the comfort, you get also Kang and this connection with
Yeah.
him. Like you also get to be closer to him.
Well, it's funny because I was talking to my one of my friends about it, just briefly, they don't know anything about Thai BLs or anything, but I was just talking about like this setup and how my initial thought was like, surely they can't be sharing a room. And then no, it's a, like a Jack and Jill bathroom where there's the two bedrooms. And now, like, that's not uncommon in kids' bedrooms. If you have a couple of kids, we have it here in some of our builds. You'll have the parents' bedrooms, and that will be down one part of the house, as far away from the kids as they possibly can get. and then, and then you'll have the kids' bedrooms down the other end of the house, and they'll have a bathroom that's like sits in between the two rooms. And they said, was it like a kids' bathroom, like a we call it a Jack and Jill, and I was like, no, it's not, definitely not a kid's bathroom. Like, these are not kids' bedrooms, kids' bathrooms, it's whatever.
Mhm.
And they said, oh, is it an in-laws suite? And I was like, I just started laughing because I remember like watching a lot of dramas, whether it's like, it happens in some Western dramas, but it's very prevalent in sort of like Korean dramas, or especially ones where they're rich. Not ones where they're like, they just live in an apartment or whatever, but especially ones where they're like the families are rich or whatever and they have a big house. And even some Thai dramas, my mum watches a lot of Lakons, and in some of those, it's not uncommon for like the married couple or like the engaged couple to like move into the house and live with the family, like live with the bride's father or whatever. And
Mhm.
and I now and now I'm hearing myself, and I'm like, um putting Kang in the place of the bride, but it's whatever, they can both be brides. And she's just like, she said to me, so could it be like an in-law suite, like the bride moves in or the fiance moves in, and they have separate bedrooms because they're not married yet, and they share a
Uh-huh.
bathroom, like they have that intimacy, like it's almost like their own little suite. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, I don't think it's that, but now that you put it in my head, I can't get it out. And so when you were just saying then about like you move into the house and you get like the family and the love and you get Kang, it's like grandma's like going, here you go. Please take care of my grandson. So every time she now says, no, like, please take good care of my grandson or something, I'm just gonna like laugh like I'm 5 years old because I'm imagining some sort of weird betrothal.
She's very sweet to Salom. They had this meal to greet him, and she asks about the bag. She obviously likes him a lot, and I mean, he probably made a big impression on her with his reaction to the bullying and not backing down, not betraying his
Mm.
morals and
he has
everything.
in he has integrity, and I think as well,
Yes.
like the bit with the bag, once again, as you said, she asks about the bag, and he's so excited, he's so like happy and impressed, and like he's so taken by the fact that she's done this for him. And I know we talked about it previously, I think in not the last podcast, the one before, when it actually happened. We talked about the fact that it meant so much more because she has money. She could have just replaced it, which is still a nice gesture, but it's not the same as her like taking the time to fix it for him. So I
Yeah.
love like how happy he is about it, and but his reaction to that has made her happy, and I feel like that's also another good impression, besides him being, having integrity and obviously having an influence on a positive influence on Kang. This like, kind of innocent, but like the way he understands her gesture. I feel like that's sort of a bonding sort of moment as well. And also, I think she just like, she clearly loves messing with Kang, and like they have that in common. Like her and Salom have that in common. They both love messing with Kang. Like that whole scene with the bag is basically the two of them. Like is basically grandma messing with Kang, and Salom absolutely loving it. Like he's just like practically laughing the whole time.
And then the dad arrives, and he's like, "Don't worry too much, Kang. You don't need to have dreams. It's fine. You don't need to try anything." And it's funny how Kang, well, funny, he really doesn't want his dad to know that he requested how much he needs Salom. It's like, there was
Well,
no other tutor, so I requested him.
I think it's a little bit of that, but I'm like, to me, it was a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and column B is I don't think he wanted Salom to know either. Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
to me, I want to pat him on the head and be like, I know you're not that bright. Like, I don't do people don't come at me. I don't think he's stupid. I'm just like, boys in love, so he's a little bit confused. Um, but like, it's completely obvious that, I mean, like, grandma's just not going to pull this solution out of her backside herself. Like, this was clearly spearheaded by him, but the fact he's just like, oh no, I didn't know, I didn't request him. Like, who is he trying to fool right now?
Yeah. And it's so obvious, like for grandma, this moment might be so obvious because he's saying this, and last time they talk about it, he was like, he's my win. I
I
need him.
like, yeah, literally, this is what I'm saying. Like, if grandma doesn't know, I'm gonna be so mad because we had, yeah, I can't live without him. You know, what good is a windmill without its wind? And then we had the I don't love him. No, no, I don't. And then we had the I never asked for him to, and she's just like, I was there, like you clearly were like he was the only one for me.
Mhm.
So
No
I
one
mean,
else. It must be Salam.
yeah, it must be. I'll never study again. Um, and like his dad, it's funny because as they're having this conversation, I was thinking back to previous conversations, but I didn't really think much of it, like previous conversations he'd had with his father rather, until we get to the bit at the school where they start talking about the dreams and stuff. Every single conversation they've had, besides like pretty much showing Kang that he has like zero expectations of him, he says like a bunch of times, I think, like things basically like, don't push yourself too hard, and like as long as you don't, what does he say, like as long as you don't like fail out of school or whatever, so like as long as he passes, he doesn't really care. Like
Hmm.
if he graduates, that's enough. Later on, you realize it's because there's this plan already there, which Kang already knows, anyway, continue. I'm following your script because, as I said, I have no notes.
So then we have a conversation on the phone with Saifa when he asks about the safe.
Oh god.
Yes, and Salam laughs, but come on, he was not fucking joking there. He was asking. He wants to know this. He wants
I
to know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to believe that of Goomba, but 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 I mean,
Zoe, I think it's time you accept that it's not Goomba.
I don't know
It's
that I
just,
can.
it's not.
I'm not sure that I can. But yeah, so I mean, I was just like, no, Goomba, no, no. I was I was like, please be joking. And then I'm like, that's not funny.
Mhm.
It's not a funny joke. But then I'm like you, I'm just like, is this foreshadowing for something bad he's going to do in the future?
Oh, for sure. It's foreshadowing. Like you only need to watch the trailer to understand that it's foreshadowing.
I really want to watch the trailer. I really want to watch the trailer because I'm having this moment right now
Hmm.
where, because in the trailer, once again, for those playing at home, there's this scene where I'm just gonna, it's in my YouTube history. I've got it on mute. I'm just gonna have a quick flick
You
through.
mean when he gets arrested?
Yeah, where's he coming out of? Is he coming out of their house or
I
is
think
he?
yeah. I think it's Kang's house.
Do you? I didn't even think
I
of
think
that.
I think so.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a look.
I think it's that room where the classmates congratulated Kang with his birthday.
They're marching him out of the front door. Oh my god, no! Oh, seriously. Like, what a. Like, it's even more of a betrayal, isn't it, really?
It will be fucking horrible. Like,
Oh, no.
yeah, Kang will be the only one who will want to keep Salam in the house.
Oh, I hope Grandma doesn't get angry.
Mm.
Oh, my goodness. It's just. Wow. Okay, that's gonna hurt so bad. It didn't even occur to me until you were just talking about it then, and I'm thinking, hang on, I never really paid attention as to where they were marching him out from. Wow. Yeah, it's like the front door. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay. All right, moving on.
so then we have the scene in the bathroom where Kang comes in, and what is he doing? What is he doing, Zoe? What is he doing? Come closer, open up to me. Tell me all your secrets. Like, and when he doesn't have that, he forces this, like he takes it himself, and oh,
This whole bathroom scene is just like one big flirt after another. What does he think he's saying? Like, is he listening to the words that are coming out of his mouth? Like, are you blushing? Are you
it's
blushing? Tell
obviously
me you're
not.
blushing.
I want you to be blushing. You're blushing, right?
Yeah, I'm just like, I
Like,
felt
I
so
think I
bad.
heard you say take a good look at some point.
Yeah, he did. Come on, take a good look. And he's like, I know you're blushing or whatever. And then
and
even the bit where he's
making him
like,
look at him, forcing him to look at him.
why do you want him to look at you half naked? Like, for real? It's like the gayest thing ever, boy. Like this, you're not even playing gay chicken anymore. You've eaten the chicken. You're full gay. But like the in a bit where he says to him something like, what does he say? He says, because I think Salom is a little bit shaken and kind of stares for a minute or something, doesn't he? And then he says something to him like, well, what are you doing? Do you want to have a shower with me or something like that? And he's just like,
Look, he's like, I'm going to have a shower. Do you want me actually to get undressed? And he starts like
yeah,
undressing, and
yeah,
Salom freaks out and runs away. And he
yeah, he
looks so
runs
happy
away.
and pleased with himself.
I Yes, he's so pleased. That was the point I was getting to. He's just like loving his life right there. And it's like, I mean, on one hand, I get it because if we go back to when he was bullying Salom,
Mm.
like a huge part of like his boner that he had for bullying him was that he wanted to get a reaction out of him and it just never worked. And now it's like he's found the perfect thing to get a reaction.
Yeah, yeah.
But he hasn't quite realized like the fact that he's like major league flirting with him and that the reaction is like an indication of reciprocated desire. It's like, yeah, he's not the most aware of himself in these earlier episodes, that's for sure.
And then we get the scene with Salam when he cannot fall asleep, and he almost go to Kang to seek comfort. I guess someone
Yeah,
said, I don't remember where, but they were like maybe he also intended to check on Kang because of his dad. But I think it's mostly about him looking for comfort.
I think it was comfort because if you think about it, it's like anything. If you're somebody who, well, just anybody, I mean, it's like, if you go away or something and especially if you're by yourself, if you're not with your partner or family or like whatever, and you're on your own and you're sleeping in a weird bed, in a weird place, you're uncomfortable. Sometimes it's hard to fall asleep or whatever. But if you also factor in how different that situation would feel to him, you know, like you would think that given it's nice and cool, so he's not hot like he always is. The bed is really comfortable. He's not uncomfortable like he normally is. It's probably really quiet. There's probably heaps of noise where he lives. You would think that those like comforts would be a comfort, but the thing is we get like I where I live, we live on a main road. Like so we have a lot of like trucks and things like that coming from our road and going to join onto a major freeway. So we get a lot of traffic noise and I just don't hear it anymore. Like I don't even notice it. I block it out. I just don't hear it. But if I go and stay in the country or something, sometimes it's too quiet. Like the silence is deafening, if that makes any sense. And so I feel like besides the whole being in an unfamiliar place without his brother, and because clearly it's just been the two of them for quite some time, he's now in this place where it's cool, it's comfortable, it's super quiet, and none of those are things that he's used to. So he would feel so out of place and like uncomfortable. And it meant so much. Like I felt like it meant so much that his first instinct wasn't to like get up and go and get a glass of water or go out and sit in the garden or like they do in shows and stuff, but it was to go to his door and like sort of, as you said, seek comfort, like because that's in that space, that's the only thing he knows that's familiar. And like it's like, why didn't he? Because this is something that's kind of interesting, I think. It warrants a
Yeah,
conversation because you and I have just said that we think at this point in time he's accepted his feelings, he's whatever, why why didn't he knock on the door?
maybe it was a bit too much because it was Kang's space. That is Kang's space, and No matter how he moves in that space, Kang is, above him in a way.
Well, we only see what they've shown us. So, but you could be right. It might be that he's waiting to be invited in before he tries to, or maybe he didn't want to show a weakness. Because I feel like Salom is he keeps letting Kang see inside and seeing bits of him that maybe he wouldn't normally necessarily let other people see. But I don't think he's always happy about it. Like, I mean, clearly, if he had a choice, he probably wouldn't have had Kang witness him getting the crap beat out of him by the debt
Yeah, he
collectors.
never opens up on purpose. He never show his weakness on purpose.
Yeah,
Like every time it happened, it never happened. Like Kang did show his weakness, kind of like on purpose. He
yeah,
opened up,
he
but with
shared.
Salom, it just happened.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the step, isn't it? If he had knocked on the door, he's showing him a weakness, like, willingly. Yeah, you're right. That's probably exactly
And
what it
showing
is.
that he does need him.
Yeah.
For the first, it would be the first time that he'd actually show Kang that, yeah, I do need him. I do need you to do this,
And
all
now I'm
this for
like
me.
super disappointed that he didn't do it because Kang would have loved it.
Yeah.
He loves to be needed. He would have loved that so much.
The next, he doesn't want to presume that he has the right for to anything. He's still wary,
Yeah.
and this episode basically shows us why he is mm, right to be wary
Mm.
at this point in time. And then the next morning, he intends to take the bus to school by himself, and Kang is like, "Grandma said you need to come with me."
It'd be hilarious if we find out later on that it's like totally his idea. Grandma didn't say shit.
And then the little car, and I really like this moment because it's music. It's connected to music and people's preferences with music. And like Kang says, he is bored of his own playlist, and he
Mm.
wants to see something new, and he wants to see Salam's playlist. Salam obviously doesn't open up, so Kang forces it out of him again. Open up to me, come closer, closer, open up. They're playing around, they're really cute. So the thing with the ear, of course, Kang gets the phone, and the funny thing is that even though he said he wants something new, the song that he plays is actually one that they both like.
Mm.
Like he's so happy to find something that they have something in common. They like the same thing, and they just play that song and sing together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna I want to talk about that, but I'm just gonna go back a little bit, back to the bit where, as you said, Salon wanted to go on the bus by himself.
Yeah.
It's like a continuation of the night before, isn't it? He's taking a step back. It's like it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
like
he got there and was like, "Oh, this is something that could happen," and then he was like, in the middle of the night when he's alone and a bit like not scared, but what? Well, maybe he's scared. He's just like, "What was I thinking?" sort of thing, and now he's pulling back, or he tries to pull back, but Kang won't let him.
yes.
And then in the car, yeah, the bit with the playlist and stuff, and I mean, I get why you love that. I mean, I loved that too because let's face it, music, and I sort of understand as well why Salom didn't want to share his playlist with Kang because
Yeah.
let's face it, like your playlists, especially your honest ones. Like, look, we all have playlists that we could totally share with people, but then we also have playlists that we maybe wouldn't share with people because they have our like little hidden like embarrassing comfort songs that like we wouldn't admit in public that we actually really like to listen to. We dance in our pajamas in our bedrooms it to them or whatever. Like there's stuff that we have on our playlist that maybe isn't socially acceptable or people don't like it, or like people would tease you if they knew you liked it. And to and not even that, not even like stuff that is maybe lame that we're really into, but just like the content, like the content of the songs. It says so much about us, doesn't it? It's like giving your diary
And
to somebody.
maybe he has songs that he listens to because he has a crush on, like he likes Kang, and like I
Maybe
listen to a song and
maybe
think
he
about you.
maybe he has a playlist called Kang. Songs to Kang too.
Yeah, and then when they walk toward the school, like Kang has his hand around Salom's shoulder, and he fixes his bag for him on his shoulder. Did you notice? And Salom looks at him and smiles. He starts to accept, this little gestures for
Well,
what
I
they are,
mean, that
basically.
behavior there, like it's, I mean, okay, yeah, some friends are like that, but to me, they look like they were boyfriends there already.
Yeah.
And I think also a little bit besides also the bit where um Salon was going to go and ride the bus. As I said, like he's clearly withdrawing everything, but there was probably also a little bit of him making the assumption that maybe Kang wouldn't want to show up to school together because it implies
Oh yeah.
something, you know. And so then you have this scene where he's overly physical and comfortable and like it's almost over like on Kang's part it's almost a little bit over the top considering their current relationship and like of what people at school knows anyway. Like we touched upon this last time when we talked about how when it's just them they're really at least I think we did. I don't know. We have so many conversations. I'm like, I don't know what was on the air and what was off the air, but we have had conversations where we talk about like how comfortable they are, like together, how they move together, when it's just them in their little world. And so, like, for him to be like that out in the open, where their friends could see them, where like anybody could see them, it's kind of like a little over the top for that moment, like in time. But it's so then I was sort of thinking about it. I'm like, now is he just like doing it because once again it's that unconscious thing where he's comfortable and his bag needs adjusting, so he does that for him because savior, uh,
Yeah.
his savior mode was activated, or is that his way as well of like anticipating Salom's discomfort in like thinking I feel like it's too much maybe for him to be anticipating that. For Kang to be like have realized that maybe he was concerned that he wouldn't want to be seen with him or something. I don't know whether Kang is that self-aware yet to actually have that thought process. I feel like maybe he was just doing it because it was comfortable for him.
I think for Salom, this is basically a public display of affection.
It is. Well,
Well,
I
for
mean, I
Kang,
thought it
it's
was
just
too.
for Kang, it's not that big of a deal, and that's why they have such different attitudes regarding this. At this point, anyway, Kang, when he realizes what's happening to him, he might stay the same, but it's still different right now.
Well, it looks like in the trailer that he does. It looks like in the trailer he seems to be the one who's like, let's tell everybody. Like he's not the one who he seems kind of which surprises me because of like theories that we've talked about, the possibility of his father not accepting them and all the rest of it. But I suppose it's like anything, like a school life and all that sort of stuff. His father clearly doesn't pay any attention to his school life, so he probably feels like they can act freely in that environment without it having to be a concern in regards to his father. You know what I mean?
Yes, and then we get Pinfar appearing, and it's funny because Kang was being sweet and caring and everything, and like overbearing with Salom, and she's looking at Kang, and she's like, "Oh, I lost my tutor, and now I see him being all sweet with his student. It really hurts." She says that while looking at Kang after Kang was being, all sweet with his tutor and not
The
the
other
other
way
way
around.
around.
Yeah.
So this is all of this was said to Kang. It was not for Salom,
So this is
that's why I
this is
think
point
it's
one in your
it's a fucking
argument.
scam.
you're like
Yeah.
you're like here's point one in my argument as to why I think she's messing with him.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So Kang's friends arrive and Salam feels that it's time to set the boundaries. And the sporty friend, I forgot his name, is worried that Salom maybe is being bullied by Kang or something, and Salom says his grandma takes good care of me. Grandma.
Grandma.
And then we get the new trainee teacher, Nadal,
Hang on.
which from
Before you
Korean is
before
going to
you
be.
go on, I feel like at some point, maybe in the next episode, or if not the next episode, the following episode, I'm gonna feel the urge to say to Kang when he's on my screen, oh grandma, what big eyes you have. Because, like, I feel like grandma might be code turned into code for Kang.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and so Nadal comes in looking all strict and then turns into a ball of fluff.
Yeah, I know, right? When I saw her, I was thinking, oh no, here we go. Now they're going to insert the troublemaker, because I did not picture what actually happens in this episode happening. And so when they introduce, because, we've spoken at length and how I had so many worries about how they were going to try and make Pimfar this horrible character that basically decided Kang was for her, and all this sort of stuff. I couldn't see it, but I could, it's GMM and they do shit like that. And or they have in the past anyway. And so I could see all these horror things and stuff, and then of course that hasn't happened. She seems absolutely adorable and lovely, and then there's this new woman coming in, and I'm thinking, oh, and of course, like the friends are foreshadowing it with, oh, she's really attractive and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh no, not another woman. And then she walks in, and the two of them are like rainbows and kittens and puppies, and I was just like, oh, okay, so this is where they're going with this. Well, okay, bravo. I'm like, I'm here for it. Except for the whole like teacher student relationship, I don't really like that. But then she is actually a student. Technically, it's student teacher student relationship.
Yeah, I don't like this stuff either. I usually skip this, but I'm quite fine with this.
Mm.
Especially if they leave Pinfa out of Kang and Salam's relationship.
You're like, I'm
Let her
fine. You're
have
like,
her own thing.
I don't mind. She can be like 40 years older. It's all good. As long as she stays away from my voice, she can be like a total cougar. I don't care. No, well, I mean, she's probably only meant to be like 2 years older or something, so it's not like it's super
Well,
creepy.
she's still a student, isn't she? Well, old
Yeah,
student.
yeah,
Kind
she's
of
just
like
a
a
uni
student.
student, so it's not like a super creepy age difference or anything. And she's not actually
Yeah.
their teacher, so there's no like power discrepancy really.
And then we see that scene where they talk about expectations. We basically already talked about it, but I want to stress how Kang just wants to get this information. He wants to know what Salom wants to do with his life.
Yeah, and
He
like,
just he's
why?
obsessed with it.
Why is he so desperate to know what his dream is? Like, how like unself-aware is he? Like, does he not realize that this is weird ass behavior? Like, if he was like your best friend or something, you could understand like a little bit of playful like fighting to find information, because maybe you want to know, maybe you want to go to the same university as your best friend, or like whatever, or maybe they're a bit quiet, they don't tell you everything, and so you're forced to like tickle it out of them. I don't know. But it's like their their relationship doesn't warrant his like obsessive, like almost control freak,
Yeah,
like need to know.
he's like, well, you're mine now. Why aren't you sharing? Why aren't you opening up now?
That's right. It's like literally everything that's yours belongs to me now. I'm the man that has everything, but I need what you have too.
Yeah, like basically his stuff, everything he owns belongs to Salom now.
Yeah. Oh,
This
he
is
would.
how it feels. And now he wants the same to be true from Salom's part.
And it's so funny that he has no idea. Does he have no idea what this means though? Like, it's like you just, he's just, seriously. But yeah, he's so desperate to know what Salom's future looks like.
And
Was he
then
intending for himself? And I guess,
and
how does he fit into it? Probably is in his mindset. How do I fit into that future?
and he starts thinking about his future and it doesn't make him happy. It
No,
just
that's right. And we
and
and we find out what from his perspective what his future looks like, which is basically marriage, kids, taking over his father's company. And he says, like, it's expected that I will do these things. So, and so here's three things. And we did definitely talk about this, I believe, in the reaction post that we did, podcast that we did. But yeah, so here's three things that he knows his father expects from him, and they may be the three things he can't give him, or at least one of them. There's going to be something in that he doesn't want to do. And based on his feelings for Salom, well, it's probably going to be like marry some chick and make a bunch of babies. So it's like, I feel that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I feel like maybe his push for his father to have other expectations of him is a way of trying to circumvent the need to follow that plan. But he's clearly like, I feel like at this point in time, he's actually like thought of he's it's actually kind of like dawned on him that like this is his future, and because he's clearly never like really taken the time to think about it, because when Salom says to him, you know, like, what's your dream, he's like, I don't have one, because he's, as far as he's concerned, it's pointless for him to have a dream like that because he won't be able to fulfill it anyway. Like, this is his socially constructed, you know, father approved plan moving forward. And he's like, so I just, that's what I'm doing. I'm following that. So if you factor in like what happens later in the episode with this realization that he seems to have here, and also the somewhat good-natured ribbing of grandma, and these moments that they keep having where they're just like, for the first time ever, they've always been aware of each other.
I
They've
feel like
always,
at this point he starts realizing that he might there's a possibility that he might deviate from this plan. He
yeah,
might kind of like fuck up this plan.
that's right.
And he decides this is the moment I must actually take charge and go into this direction that was set for me, and that's why we see him starting to trying to like hit on Pinfa and being like, oh, let's go to uni, let's see where you're going. Lots trying to push Salam away because it freaks him out that he
Yeah.
doesn't want that and that he's pulled in a different direction.
Yeah, well, I mean, from his perspective as well, like, this is a sure thing. If he follows this plan, he'll get acceptance. He'll fulfill expectations that his father's given him, which is like been a lifelong goal at this point. But if he doesn't, if he deviates from them, and his father has never had anything else of him, yeah, it'd be really hard pill for him to swallow, I think. And also, yeah, I feel like this episode has shown us, we've seen so many times in the past, we've had the long loving looks, you know, whatever they were doing in the beginning, where it was like, you know, we talked about it, it should have been super awkward. It wasn't awkward, you know, like they were just there. They were just both super present in the moment, you know. And then now we're having moments like the one on the bed where it's more like, I
They're
don't feel
getting
like,
too close. It's too
yeah,
close, and it's like they're getting to the moment of no return, the point of no return.
yeah, I feel like though it's different as well, because I feel like there's that too. There's that, definitely that aspect of it. But I feel like before it was more like feelings, emotions, intellectually charged moments, whereas I feel like, you know, because like every time that that's happened, they were talking about something that was symbolic of feelings, or, you know, like the windmill thing and stuff like that. Like, it's all like feelings based, whereas the stuff that happened on the bed and that's like physical attraction, physical proximity. Like, they're suddenly very, for somebody, for a couple of people who move very well in and out of each other's physical space without any limitations, and even without even really realizing that they've been doing it, to suddenly then, you know, look up and that person's right there, and you're like, oh shit, you know, like, they're now aware of each other in such a different way. So they've already moved past, like, you know, like, they're just skipping ahead in phases, as you said, and he's they're getting to that point of like no return. Like, they've got the feelings and the, you know, intellectual, you know, attraction, and now, you know, like, they like each other, and now they're physically aware of each other as well. And they look at the situation they're in. There's like, the only thing that's between them at this point in time to prevent them from having a physical relationship is a bathroom and a couple of doors. So,
Exactly.
like, Kangs decides to put Pimfar into between them instead. He's like, I need an actual flesh and body person that I can just like have standing.
There's an open house at the university, and Salom suggests they should go together, and Kang says no, he'd rather stay home and play games. But Pim Pim Fa appears, and she asks them, "Are you both coming?" And Kang is suddenly interested, and I laughed so hard. Like, with the whole he's an introvert bit. The way Shimon plays this bit makes me laugh every single time. Yeah, yeah, I happen to be an introvert. I'm dying every time I see
Oh,
that. It's
the
so
the
good. I cannot.
wording and the comic timing of that was brilliant.
Exactly. It's so fucking good. But at that point, Salome is still he still believes in Kang's feelings and the fact that maybe he's a bit confused regarding that situation and what actually happened right now.
I feel like he thought it
But
was
he's
just like
still,
super weird because
yeah,
previously to this, from everything we've seen as at this point, and we had this conversation where I said, this whole idea about him liking her or him having a crash on her, crash, no, not a crash, a crush on her, it's so comes out of left field. Like it's just they've shown us nothing to back it up. So unless we get some sort of flashbacks where we see interactions, more
between Kang
interactions
and
between them, and also interactions between her and
oh,
Salom, it's not none of it's going to make any sense, right? So it's like, I mean, we can clearly see where he's coming from and what he's doing and all the rest of it. But it's like from Salom's perspective, like the only time I think he's seen them probably interact is in a very friend like manner. Like we've not seen, like as the viewer, even without Salom around, we've not seen Kang and Pimfar react in a way where it even indicates in any way, shape, or form that they're anything other than friends.
yes. So then we get the dressing up moment, and this is the moment when I guess Salome makes the first step forward. This is the
Mm.
moment when he makes his move. This is my moment when he opens up, and it's like, oh, it hurts so much. So we have the blurry moment when at first it looks like a dream, and then you snap back to reality. I think it's Salome's perception because
See,
this
I
blur thing.
disagree. I disagree. I have a completely different opinion, but continue.
Yeah, I think it's Salome perception because it we see this blurry thing when Salome appears in the frame, and when we look at Kang, he when Kang appears, he's looking at his phone, like he hasn't looked up yet, but the thing is still blurry, and he raises his eyes from the phone. He hasn't been watching up until now. So then we cut to Salome again, and it's like it intensifies again, and then he hears you look absolutely stunning today, and we still focused on him, and his smile when he hears that, like, oh my god, it's so soft, and it's like he's so vulnerable in that moment, and then we cut to Binfa, and the moment is over.
So, okay, so my perspective of
And so,
this,
oh, I have something else to say. And when she says that, I've been dressing like this all the time or something, she's looking at Salome. Kang
mm,
says that to her, and while she is like, I was always like this, she's looking at Salome because she's like, who are you talking to?
yeah.
Are you
So,
sure? Are you sure you want to say that to me? Are you
yeah.
sure?
Well, here is my personal opinion, and this is coming from the perspective of like I did a little bit of filmmaking once upon a time. So you could be right. I like to think I'm always right, but today at work I was proven I was wrong about something. So hey, it could happen twice in one day. Um, but yeah, I see it different because yeah, I would love. I'm super curious to see if we'll get a revisiting of this scene in at another date or time later on down the track. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility because we've already had that happen a couple of times to us. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see stuff when, especially when Kang is, if it happens in the next episode or the following episode where Kang starts to come to the realization that, yeah, um, yeah, it's a Salom that he's down for. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of flashback montagey type moments. But anyway, the reason why, even though yeah, I agree, he does appear to be looking down at his phone and everything that, but when we're focused on Salom and he's all fuzzy and everything, Salom is not looking at Kang. He's looking around. He's checking his shirt. He's whatever. So he yes, he could be imagining himself looking like that in Kang's eyes or whatever. But if we, I mean, if we think about it from our perspective, if like how often when you are going to meet someone you like and you've put in this effort and all that sort of stuff and you're checking yourself in that way, and that are you like really thinking that they're going to be looking at you mooningly or whatever? Like normally you're like going like, oh my god, is my skirt tucked into the back of my underwear, or like you're having like, please don't trip, like you're having those sorts of kind of mentality things. That's just my little weird tangent I just went on. But anyway, the reason why, as I said, I think it's Kang's view of Salom is because he's not like he's as I said, he's not it's not until sort of he gets closer to him that he's looking forward. And yes, it seems like Kang is playing with his phone, is looking down, is all those sorts of things. But when the screen is focused on Salom, we can't see Kang. We don't know what the fuck he's doing, but it's from his perspective. So, especially given the scene that we get at the very end of the episode with the drink thing and the way he like focuses in on his mouth and stuff, I definitely think that scene is from Kang's perspective. And if you look when he sort of actually does look up and it's like he's paying attention and everything, and he says that, that line, as he's saying that, he changes his focus. He's actually looking at Salon when he starts speaking. When he finishes the sentence, he's looking at Pimfar and he's moved in her direction. But
I
when he
think
starts actually,
I don't think we can actually see that he's looking at Salome when he said that. And I had something to say. Remember how I
Mum and
had
I,
this theory.
hang on, sorry, I zoomed on my TV to try and like work out where his eyes were pointed. That's how lame I was. And actually, I totally lied earlier because I did watch bits of it with my mum when she watched it. But yeah, so I like totally used her TV and I like zoomed right in. I'm like, he's looking at him, right? And she's like, yeah, I think so. So whether or not that's true, maybe it's just two delusional weirdos zooming in on a gym drama to try and work out eye direction or not. I don't know. But we don't see her until he's like halfway finished and he turns his person in her direction.
I still think it's Salam's point of view because we don't see her because it's here. Look, remember how I said I think the episodes are alternating from Salam's point of view to Kang's point of view to Salam's
Mm,
point of view to Kang's point of view. So the first one was mainly Salam's point of view, the second one was Kang's, and then the third one was mainly Salam's, and the fourth one was Kang's. And in the third one, at the end, like remember at the gate when Kang was waiting for Salam, like the camera was on him, and we still know that it was his point of view, even though the camera is focused on him.
mm,
So in this moment, we see Salam's face because we see his feelings, we see his perception of the world at that moment. I
mm.
think that's what's happening
The the
in
other
that.
reason why I disagree is because when we actually see Salom look up and focus and like look at Kang is, if they do a side profile shot of them and he is completely all like da 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 like lovey whatever fuzzy, and Kang is in complete sharp contrast to that. Like he's like perfect, like high definition gorgeousness. He's the opposite of that. Like one is like Mooney in love, which is basically what Kang is. He just doesn't realize, and the other one is like, "Wow, you're amazing," which is how I feel Salom feels about Kang when he looks at him, because
I
we've seen
think
his physical attraction earlier than we saw Kang start to realize what the fuck's going on.
I think this the point of this episode basically is how Salam opens his heart and he tries letting Kang in and he tries making his move, but he gets hurt. Like
I get that. As I said, I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on it because you obviously have a very sort of firm thought about it, and I'm pretty like I do too. So I think we'll just have to wait and see if they give us any more of it to know whether or not, or it'll just.
let's see if we
Mm,
agree that the next episode is from Kang's point of view. I'm really curious too. Like there's been a part enough up until now. I'm really curious if I'm right.
yeah,
I
and because
wanna
I
see if
don't.
you
Yeah,
agree
it will
also
be
with
interesting
me.
to see because obviously next week's episode, well, this week's actually. Oh my god, it's so close now. Today technically for me already it's Thursday, so I'm like, it's only one more sleep. It's like Christmas. Um, but yeah, so it's like I think yeah, we'll wait and see what happens in the future as to it. But I do think the in because clearly the bit at the end with the lips that is definitely from Kang's point of view, right? You agree with that anyway, don't you?
Yeah, but it's not. It's all. Even though in the episode I think it's mainly from a character's point of view, we still had the other one's point of view as well. But the
Yeah,
episodes, generally feels like it's more of one or the
yeah.
others.
I will
So then,
agree. I will agree that this. But see, this episode to me kind of felt mixed. I didn't feel like it was
Mhm.
from one perspective or another because to me this one jumped back fairly evenly because we had yes we had Kang's bit like we had Kang's bit where he's thinking about love and everything. Then we had the bit, where Salom it can't sleep and whatever. Then we're going back to him as well, wanting to sort of separate, pull apart, whatever. And then we get into the whole like Pimfar of it all, and we start to see it, from his perspective. Yes, we see him getting ready for the like. I'm doing air quotations saying date here because that's basically like the way he was acting, which is a strange expectation considering the three of them were going together. But anyway, it's clearly what he was thinking. And date like activity. And then but then we also are seeing it from Kang. So when we're switching and it's him and Pimfar, it's definitely from his perspective. I mean, Salom's not there, so it's that whole section is from his perspective, and then we switch back again. But then, like just these little bits and pieces, and even the bit at the end, we see both of their points of view from that. It's just different parts of the story. So I don't know. I think for that part with the fuzzy, the fuzzy wuzzy, we'll just have to agree to disagree and see what happens in the future.
so then Nabdal appears, and Finfal wants her to stick with them. And Khan tries to get rid of Salam, and then Pimfan, seeing this, does an exasperated sigh, and
Is it
and
point two on your argument as to why she's messing with Kang?
and then he finally manages to separate them, and we get the bit where he shows off with the lizard, and also we get the bit where Abdal tells Salom that he needs to focus on himself if he wants to study abroad and if he wants to succeed, and not on Kang basically. But at that point in the story, he is committed to this path that he chosen for himself and to being with Kang, because that's what he's trying in this episode, right? Opening his heart and jumping into this whole thing without looking back. And then we get the couple shirts and them hanging out together and being all cute,
Seriously, the
of course.
funniest thing ever when he's like, everyone's looking at us, we must be cool, and it's like, guys, like the girls are literally like, they're already shipping them. Yeah, it was the couple shirts is hilarious.
And just
Um,
to think that moment with the salad is hilarious because, you know, Salon puts the piece of salad in Kang's mouth, and then Kang takes this huge ass piece and starts pushing it into Salom's mouth, and he just lets him.
yeah,
He just
but
lets
even
him
just
do
like the
whatever he
way
wants.
that's right, and the way he's like holding his jaw and everything, just the whole like once again, completely in each other's space, no boundaries whatsoever.
Yes, and then they had the aid thing, first aid thing.
Oh yeah, which is like okay, I have so many issues with that scene. It's not funny. I have to preference this with I used to be a medical profession, and this is not how you do first aid training like at all. I mean, like where are the dummies? Like and I'm not talking about Kang. Poor Kang. I love Kang really. He's like my favorite little bean, but like, no one told him to like do the mouth. No one told him to do the breaths. Like, I'm pretty sure we haven't done the breaths since before COVID. Like, what is he doing even? But it's just like literally no one else is doing that, and it's just yeah, I'm
And Salam just lets him also. He does nothing. He just waits to see
I know
what's going to
he's like
happen. And
right
then he
there.
has
That's
this
right.
knowing smile.
He just waits to see what he's going to do with in that moment. And I think you said to me you feel like he was testing himself.
Kang,
Because
yeah. At least several times, I feel like he was.
And I have to say, I am disappointed about one thing in this episode. Like, I know lots of it's there's lots of mixed feelings about the whole Kang Pimfar Salom like story, whatever's happening with that. Um,
Hmm.
but I have to say the thing I'm most disappointed about in this story is I've forgotten the teacher's name, but anyway, that's okay.
Not
When
now.
she when she's giving them their tour and they're walking through the engineering courtyard and she says the story about like if you trip in this courtyard you're going to end up dating an engineer.
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm so bummed that Kang didn't trip. Like, why didn't he trip? Like, this was a perfect moment for him to trip. Although I must admit, if they had done that, it would have been like peak early GMM Thai BL, like where they used to do that stuff where it's like basically clown, clown comedy.
Hmm.
Where it's like super obvious what it, but
On
I'm
the
also
nose,
kind
yeah.
of disappointed that they didn't do it because I totally wanted him to like trip. And just like not even be like, even if they hadn't, because obviously the kind of clown comedy that I'm talking about, like it's acknowledged. Do you know what I mean? Like if they had done something like that in an older drama, it would be acknowledged either by the person who tripped or by like everyone around them, and so that therein becomes the comedy of it or whatever. But if they just had him like sort of like subtly stumble or something, but like no one acknowledges it or anything until it's like later on that he like realizes he did it or whatever, like I'm like I feel like it was a missed opportunity. My sad like super like inner self who like first watched like the lamest BL ever, at a young age is now going, oh, missed opportunity. The adult version of me is like, yeah, probably wouldn't have fit with like where they're going with this, but I'm also like, why mention it if you're not going to use it?
Maybe it will happen later.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll come back. Maybe they'll come back and
Or
just.
maybe this will end because maybe we're talking about when we're not really sure how it's going to end. Like I have some fears. um
Right. Yeah.
and and so like um I'm like, but maybe they'll end it with them going to university, which would make a nice like ending, I think, to the storyline, because obviously that is part of the goal of what they're doing is to get Kang into university and stuff, and I assume they're going to want to be together. So I feel like this would be, I mean, grandma could make another bargain with Salom, like, if you can get, Kang through university, then we'll send you abroad and you can both study together for a couple of years before coming back to Thailand. Like she can give them another she can give him another like bargain. I feel like that could happen. But yeah, we might get it, like if they did a bit in the last episode where they're at university or something and Salom is studying engineering and Kang is studying communications or whatever, and he's like comes to meet him for like lunch or something, and like totally trips, and like Salom catches him because it's always Kang catching Salom, so that actually would be a cute little ending, really, honestly. I'm like, there you go, I wrote it, GMM, print it, let's do it. Except I'm pretty sure they've finished filming, so what will be will be.
And then we get the moment where Kang helps Salom realize his dream by making him sing.
Which was just like the cutest thing ever, because like how happy was Kang? Like he loved that, and not in a like old Kang would have done that to like embarrass him or like or whatever, and this was like there was just so much joy in it. Like he just wanted everybody else to enjoy him the way he enjoys him, and that's kind of beautiful, really.
And Pinfa is there smiling in the crowd.
Point three of your argument.
It's not really a point, but I feel like she's there. She doesn't go to them after that,
No,
she
she
lets them
fades
have their
into the
moment.
crowd. Yeah, she fades
Exactly.
into the background. Yeah.
And then we get the moment with the locks. And it breaks my heart that Salam was so sure at that moment. And why wouldn't he be that Kang would follow him? And did you notice he is putting his lock on a windmill?
Oh, I didn't even notice. But yeah, now that you mention it, I remember what it looked like. Yeah. And I mean, this is the thing as well, right? So when you were just talking about Pimfar and we were talking about her disappearing into the background and stuff in that scene, she is not the main character in this storyline, so it makes sense that she just disappears and whatever else. But yeah, when we have the lock thing, it was like, oh god, it was so romantic. I remember watching this part of the episode and just dying a little bit, like, because it was so fucking romantic, and I was just like, oh my god, boy, you are just killing me. Because, we had the bit where they were talking about it obviously earlier in the day, and he was just like, that's so lame or whatever. Even though, like, Salom had sort of said, let's do it, it could be, could be fun or whatever, and he sort of blew him off, and that, and we'd seen through the day, as you said, like, you can understand why at this point Salom is like, he thinks something is happening. This is a gesture of some description, because yeah, okay, he's been acting super weird, like, for a couple of days, like the whole weird thing with Pimfar at school about going to this event and him being an introvert, and like the few weird moments where stuff had happened and that. But you could, if you look at it from Salam's point of view, where, as I said, it's not like he's ever witnessed anything that would suggest that Kang has a thing for Pimbar. Like, if I was Salam and the way he was behaving in that, I might have just been like, oh, it's just Kang being Kang. Like, he's not interested in learning about engineering, but he knows I want to, so he's giving me the opportunity. Like, but in his, like, kind of like, brash way that he has, where he's just like, here, you go do this. I'm just going to go and do what I want to do. It's like staying at home playing video games. It's the same sort of thing, only it's just, and not really thought anything of it other than that. But you did see, but then there's moments where you see where he's like, he's not sure, like where, in that moment where Kang sort of says to the student teacher, like, you take him to the engineering and talked about that, we're going to go and do something else because we're not interested in this. And he grabs a hold of Pimfar's wrist like he always does with Kang, or like he always
Mhm.
does with Salom. And you see Kang, sorry, you see, Jesus, you see Salom, like, pay attention to that, because we've mentioned this before about how Kang always grabs onto Salom and sort of like, holds on to him and stuff. And so, like, you do see him noticing these things, but the other things that are happening, like the first aid bit and this huge, like, I mean, it's a pretty big, the bit where he gets him up and gets him to sing and all that. I mean, that's a pretty big gesture of something that he's doing there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all just,
Yeah.
and they were playful and flirty, like, all day kind of thing. And it's so, like, you can understand why when he gives him this lock, and it's because it's just the two of them now as well. There's no one else around. There's no student teacher. There's no Pimfar. It's just the two of them. It's nighttime. It's like romantic, So I. I was just like, I was Salome in that moment. I was just like dying. I was like, oh my god, it's so romantic.
And then he turns around, and the look he has on his face is like, oh my God, what have I done to myself? What
I
have I
feel
done to myself?
I feel like, though, in that moment, though, he's just, I don't actually feel like he's that in that quite in that position yet. Like, I feel like he's more like, oh, I completely misread this situation. Like, what's happening in this moment? You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't think he was at the point where he was like 100%, oh no, he likes her or whatever. I think he's still confused about, like, what he's doing, but I think he was just like disappointed that it wasn't going to be a thing between the two of them, because he Ken gives Pimfar the lock and all the rest of it. And at that point in time as well, it seems like he gives her his lock to hang up. So, like, it lessens the significance. Like, so from Salom's point of view, it's like, oh, okay, I read so much into this. Like, he's like, I thought we were doing something romantic and together as a, like, couple, but not couple, but you know what I mean? Like, we were doing this together, but clearly it wasn't as important to him because he's just given his lock to someone else. Because as far as he knows, there's only two locks, because Pimfar wasn't around. So it's not like you would expect him to have extra, like, Kane just randomly stuffed his pocket full of locks, just in case he happened upon someone who wanted one. Like, you, in that moment,
I
you would
actually
assume.
have thought about it. Actually, I think it's very interesting that Kang has two locks, and one he gives to Salom, the other one he gives to Finfa. It's like He has these two life choices, these two paths, and he cannot decide. He doesn't want anything for himself. So they put their locks in two different places, and when he gets his own lock to hang,
Mm,
it's very convenient that Salom's is also there. It's like he's thinking, maybe I'll stick with Pinfa, but Salom will also be here, pretty close to me. He'll also
mm.
be in this university. Like this path does not mean losing him. I think he did not understand in that moment that he will lose he would lose Salom. That
I
maybe
think
he'd be able to keep him like this all the time,
yeah, and of
even
course,
even if
obviously,
it's Pinfa.
yeah, obviously, he's also not aware of the fact that Salom is now witnessing this too, and it's convenient as well. It's convenient the way they're situated because he comes back, when he does his, sneaks back to do the lock thing, he has to walk past her to get to Salom's. So like even like say he was going to go to Salom's, he has to like walk past her and like reject hers, so to speak, to go on to Salom's. And I don't know if you notice, like when he goes to put it on Salom's, like he drops it. So it's like you could joke about fate or
on
whatever, but
on
like
on Pinfas.
sorry,
On Pinfas locket, he tries to
yeah,
put his locket on
when he
Pinfas.
tries to connect them, he drops it. So it's like you could argue fate, you could argue like he doesn't really want to do it, so he lets go because once you click that, it's like like it's like when you hear a lock click, it's like it sounds final. There's a finality in that. So like you were saying, like he's thinking he could have this a bit like what's that saying? Have your cake and eat it too, by having Salom in the same place. But the thing is, he doesn't really. Still at this point, he doesn't really realize what he wants from Salom because that's why he doesn't realize he can't have both because
And he doesn't realize that Salam will not stick to him and just love him, and because he doesn't know, he doesn't know what that is, and Salam will not be there to witness them together, and he
no.
doesn't know that him making this choice actually means losing Salam.
Mm. And I feel like because
But
he
Finfar's action makes it quite clear, I think, for him that he must take action and just not just follow someone but choose for himself, because if he just let them choose and then he just sticks he does not go there while they're there to make this choice. He does not want to be seen. It's like a secret. It's like he's not proud of the way of his choice or something.
mm, yeah,
The
he
fact that
doesn't.
he
That's
does
right.
this alone.
That's right. It's interesting too that you bring that up because yeah, like honestly, like if he legitimately liked her, right? You could and had no feelings for Ceylon whatsoever. It makes sense for him to wait for her to leave before he would go and hook his lock on hers. Because he doesn't want her to know. You know what I mean? Like he's not ready to confess or like whatever, right? So that makes sense. But like it doesn't make sense to make Salom leave. Like, why would you care? Just hang your lock in front of him. Like, how does it affect him if you hang your lock? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's aware that it, like, somewhere in his little, like lizard brain, he's aware that like it's not appropriate for him to be doing that. As you said, he's not proud. He doesn't want him to know that he didn't choose him.
And then Pinfa is there, like she has to walk fast. She's so calm there. Like how could she approach that thing and not see him there? She saw he was there, and she's like, oh my god, I did not see you here. Oh my god, that's so funny. If you think that she is pretending and this is a scam, like looking at the actress play the scene is actually hilarious. This scene
I
is
mean,
actually it's comedy.
I'm really not sure still, like, what I think of her motives, whether I think, like you think, that she's playing Kang because she wants him to, man up, sort of, so to speak, or whether she does actually like Salom. Because her actions, if you take away, like, the idea of her messing with Kang and everything, her action, as I said, coming back afterwards and hooking it onto Salom's makes sense. She's waited for them to leave. But it also makes sense to me if she knows that Kang likes Salom, because you wouldn't hang it in front of either of them in that situation. Because it seems like she's either not ready to confess herself, or she has no intention of like ever letting Salom know that she likes him. I feel like she knows if she does like Salom, and I'm not saying she does. I haven't made my mind up. I can't decide about this scene. I'm like, it's too ambiguous for me to make my mind up. I need more. I'll have a better opinion after next week, which is a total cop out because we'll probably find out one way or another. But I just feel like she if she I feel like she probably know if she does like some, she probably knows that Kang does as well. That's my opinion on that, if that's the way the story is going.
I made
Um
a poll
I know.
regarding this.
Yeah.
I posted it on Tumblr. There are five items to choose from. The first one is she likes Salom and she's clueless about Kang's feelings. The second one, she likes Salom and she figured out the boys are in love with each other. Third one, she doesn't have feelings for Salom and she did it to mess with Kang. Fourth one, it's not Pinfa, it's her long lost twin who came back from Russia, Pin Black. And the last one, it was all a dream because there must be this option everywhere. The name is possible. So 63 people voted up until now. There are 4 more hours left, five, let's say, but I don't think the results will change much. So there's 7.9% for it was all a dream. It's 9.5% for she likes Salom and she's clueless about Kang's feelings. 14% for the Pin Black thing. 20% for she likes Salom and she figured out the boys are in love with each other. And 47.6 for she doesn't have feelings for Salom and she did it to mess with Kang. I'm so surprised. I didn't think most people actually think it's a scam.
Well, it's funny. It's funny actually that the two options that most people think are the most likely are the two that you and I are arguing for. So we're thinking with the general population, which is interesting. You should totally put it on Twitter as well.
I will. Once like what in 5 hours it finishes and then I'll make a screenshot and I'll post it on Twitter. But so almost half the people think that
No, no.
it's a
I
scam.
mean you should post the same poll on Twitter.
Oh, I will think about it. I don't know. Our
All
Twitter
right.
account, our X or whatever account makes me anxious a little bit. I may just post the results there.
Okay. Fair enough. What I was gonna say. What was I going to say? Something about her feelings or non feelings. Oh no, I wasn't going to say anything about her. I was going to go back to Kang and Kang dropping the lock and being down on his knees and standing up and like it's this moment where he reconsiders because he stands up and he looks at Salom's lock and then he sees someone click a lock on there. Now, he sees the lock getting clicked on there before he sees her. I feel like if it had been anybody else, he would have been like, "Get your lock off there." That's my lock.
What the fuck are
He's
you
like,
doing? Yeah,
who the fuck do you think you are?
that's my win. Don't you see it's on a fucking windmill?
Yeah, that's totally my lock, right? Like I feel like he was just like because you see like two lots of shock on him. Like the first, like the first thing is he's considering, I think, like what to do. Like he's reconsidering. He looks at the lock and then he sees someone else put their lock on and he's like shock. Like what?
I don't think he's considering. I did not see that. I
Well,
I did not see him considering to put his lock on
no, no,
Salomon's lock.
I'm not necessarily saying he's considering because we don't there's not enough time for that, but I just mean like he like okay, so he looks at it though. Like so there's like why look at it? Like you're thinking about it.
Well, he's thinking about it, but it's not like he. I don't think if she wasn't there, he'd actually consider or make a step towards that lock or look at it longer or something. Like, he would just go with the flow.
Yeah, I don't know because otherwise why look at it? I
I
feel
think
like
that's
him.
why she intervened because he would do that. He needs to be
Nah,
shaken a little bit. He needs to see that it's not going to work out the way he thinks right now it would. Like he's not going to be able to keep. Salom in his life
I
like
don't
this.
disagree. I don't disagree if this is what's going on with her, that that's her motive or whatever or anything like that.
Mhm.
But I feel like in that moment when he drops the lock, he has seconds while he's picking that lock up to think about what he's doing. Like it's like when you do something that you know is not right and you have like if something goes wrong, you have these brief moments where you can like of self-reflection. Like now you're not always going to do the right thing afterwards. So 9 times out of 10, you'll still continue on the same path, which is what you're saying. But sometimes you reconsider, right? Now, I'm just saying that in that moment, we don't know. We don't know what he was going to do after that because he wasn't allowed to make the decision. So we don't know. Like we can surmise and we can guess like what he might have done, but we don't
Yeah, that
actually
is
know.
my
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. So my guess is different to yours. I'm not saying that I think that he would have followed through, but the fact that he looks at Salom's lock means he's not he was 100% focused on her lock, right? And then he drops it, goes down, picks it up, stands up, looks at Salom's lock. So he's not his focus is now split. Like his determination is not as strong as it was as he was like walking up to, let's
Yeah,
do this. Um
yeah,
and it's just and he doesn't really get a chance to reconsider or to think of anything because suddenly there's a lock being clicked on there, and you do sort of get this like he's like huh kind of like what kind of like reaction, and then he sees her and he's like what the fuck.
I see him panicking a little bit.
Sorry.
I see him panicking a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Because as I said, I feel like if it wasn't her, he would have been like, "Get that fucking lock off my lock." Because I mean, it would have just been weird as well. Like, why would you click your lock on some strange lock? Like, that's just weirdness. But yeah, he definitely wasn't expecting that. And I mean, I did not see that coming myself either. I was very surprised. And then, of course, before all that, we saw Salom see him go to click his lock on her lock and just be absolutely devastated and heartbroken. And I was so not ready for that either. I was not expecting it. I really wasn't expecting for them to have these moments. Like I was expecting like maybe a little bit more, I don't know, back and forth between them and then something to happen and like them to get together. But I didn't really expect I mean, obviously it makes sense for a little bit more drama in between, but I wasn't expecting it. And I did you have anything else to say about this moment, this end bit here?
I think that it's like the circumstances are forcing them to make their decisions fast, to act fast. Like Salom, Salom is in danger. Kang needs to act now. He needs to do something. Then uh, Kang is kind of losing himself, and Salom is there for him. You need
Mm,
me right now. I'm going to help you right now. And then Salom needs help again, and Kang is, I'm going to take you into my home. And it's like they don't waste time. They
mm,
not really. It's like the
mm.
circumstances are forcing them back together. It's like fate.
Yeah, but also
They need to be together.
they're not really digesting it either, which is probably why I keep saying that Kang's not bright, but that's not the case at all. It's probably why he's not realizing what's actually happening to him because well, one, I honestly don't think he's ever had any of these sorts of feelings for anyone before. That's the first thing. So he doesn't really know what's going on. And two, he's not getting the opportunity to actually like digest because as you said, there's always a new incidence of something that's happening. And so
And they
there's
act on instinct, based
yeah,
on instinct.
that's right.
And
They're
their
not like
instinct brings them closer together, but it doesn't mean they well, at least can doesn't mean he really understand what it means and why he's doing that.
no, that's right. And they're not actually talking about it. Like the, this is one of the things that's really interesting about these early interactions that we had where we had these like long moments of
Hmm.
what should have been really super awkward moments. And normally when that sort of stuff happens, someone makes a joke, whatever, eventually if it happens more than once, like someone says something, like because it gets to the point where it's so uncomfortable that someone has to say something, like shit or get off the pot, like kind of thing. Like
Hmm.
so, but in this, it with them, it was never awkward. So they weren't forced even in that to like even sort of draw attention to it and have a conversation. So they're both being very like sundeer about it. Like they're not sharing their verbalizing their feelings at all for one another. So except for the way that they're acting and the fact that neither of them have had anyone act this way with them, and they've never acted this way with anyone before. Like, you can understand why there's some confusion going on.
And then I'm hoping they're going to have this in the next episode, though.
So do you?
I don't want to talk too much about the trailer because I watched it too many times, like too many times. I want to keep this conversation for the episode when it airs.
I just
Do you
want
want to
to.
say something?
I only want to say. I want to say two things. First thing is, I'm just curious. Do you think they're going to end up in the next episode, or do you think it won't happen until episode 7?
Usually in the trailers they show us the peak moments that are not really peak moments, and I don't know what to expect. Like they make you think that this is the biggest thing that's going to happen in that episode, but in reality, something else is happens that's
Mm,
much more interesting
mm.
and
But we
moves
get
the story forward. So I don't know.
we get the indication of what looks like a kiss. Whether or not it actually turns into a kiss, who knows? Whether or not Selim stops it before it becomes a kiss, we just don't know. But
I
what
don't
I
really know the aftermath of that kiss. What
That's right, and
like
I
I
feel
need
like
to know the conversation. What happens in that
that's
conversation
right.
too?
That scene there is will be pivotal. I think. First off, where it's located in the episode, like is it right
Exactly.
at the end or in the middle, or and also as you said, the circumstances of it will depend on whether or not next week is just like a stepping stone and then the following week is when they get together, or whether it'll happen next week. We just won't know. But um I, I do want to say something about the trailer, and I don't have to, like, it's not an in-depth thing, but I will. It's a confession more for you than anything. So
Mhm.
just for anyone who's listening, so we talked about, like, reading the book, didn't we? You found an English translation, and we sort of decided that we wouldn't read it. We were gonna, like, not spoil ourselves. And have you read any of the book?
No.
Okay,
Have
I'm just saying.
you?
No, 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 I haven't. I haven't. But I found this, like, video on YouTube. I don't know, did I play it or did it come up and just start playing? I can't remember. But it was like, I thought it was a reaction to the trailer, but what it actually
Uh-huh.
was is someone talking about what they think is going to happen in the next episode based on the trailer and what
Uh-huh.
happens in the book. And I'm like, so I'm a little bit potentially spoiled for next week's episode. But only if it adheres to the book. But I feel like this person was talking about a lot of stuff that I feel like
Mhm.
they can't do in just that episode. But it looks like the culmination of what they were talking about definitely happens in that episode. So
Mhm.
I'm like, it'd be interesting to see what bits are actually in it and not. But yeah, I kind of spoiled myself by accident. I was like, when I realized what was going on, I was like, no, and then it was like a train wreck. I had to watch it to the end. It was only
I'm
like a 3 minute
scared
video
to
or something, but I was like, damn it. And then I was like,
I'm scared to go into comments on YouTube and on Twitter as well because there are spoilers
yeah,
everywhere. Like
people
it's
talking about
just
the book and stuff. Yeah. I must admit,
I really don't want to know.
I haven't really read any comments. I kind of regret it because part of the joy of this show so far has been having, like, absolutely no idea what's going on. And so I'm like, I'm hoping that I'll still be surprised. And I feel like I will, because I feel like half of the joy of the surprises and that the moments that we're getting in this is not just the story and everything, but it's actually like Perth and Shinon. Oh my god, my voice is going in. Perth and Shinon's acting, and, like, so I feel like I'm still going to enjoy it. It's still going to be a surprise. It's like I'm super curious about certain parts of the trailer, how things
And
come
also the
about.
thing that they do with the trailer is that this is not the order that the scenes will be in the episode. I'm pretty sure that's what they do in these trailers. Like this is not the order that we're going to see stuff in. Like so, yeah. I cannot wait. I can't wait.
Mm.
Don't you dare spoil anything to me.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, my only thing I was gonna say was, as I said, is that I accidentally. It was a confession. It was a confession. That was all I was gonna do. Because I really did not mean to do that at all. I actually went in and did that thing where you go it's like the YouTube version of blocking someone, you know, like where you say,
Uh-huh.
don't show me videos from this person again. I
Yeah.
actually went in and clicked on that because I don't want it to happen again. And I'm like, I felt really bad. I'm like, sorry, person. This is not a personal thing. This is just, I don't want to see this. But it did make me super curious about the book as well. So that's good. So we'll see what that's all about. It depends on the translation as well. Sometimes the translations aren't great. And so the book doesn't really resonate in the same way as perhaps it does if you read it in Thai. It's one of those reasons why, one more reason why I wish I was bilingual in Thai. But and really the only thing, you know, I mentioned earlier about watching the OST and that. The really the only thing I have to say about the new OST, actually, I have two things to say about the new OST, the one that they sing together, is why do they have Shinon working in a cafe? Like, it's just so weird. Like, I'm like, either stick, and then they've got scenes from the show, and it's like either stick to the storyline and make it like a show song, or just release a song that sort of fits, like to support the show, but like don't have anything about the show. Like it's separate of itself. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
felt
it's like that song. It's a song in the story. It's a song that they both like in the story, but it's not about them.
yeah, but then by putting scenes of them in it, it's meant to be them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's a little bit, the film clip itself is a little bit confusing. It's a bit misleading.
It is,
um
yeah.
I kind of felt with this film clip, I feel the exact same. Like, don't get me wrong, I really, really, really love off guns. Oh my god, what's the
My side,
what's sorry?
my side.
My Side. I love My Side. I love that song. But the
Me
film
too.
clip has absolutely nothing to do with Not Me. And it's like meant to be like part of the OST for Not Me. And so I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I love it. I love the film clip. I love the song. But I'm just like, I was, I struggled a bit the first time I watched it because I was so
Mhm.
confused. But yeah, and so I was a little bit that way when I watched this OST as well, because the whole like cafe owner, whatever storyline they were going for there completely threw me. But there's a line in the song. You know how I said like I'm scared about the end of this show? There's a line in the
Mhm.
song that goes, uh, something about how they want to lean on each other like we did in the old days. I'm just like, what do you mean the old days? Because that makes it sound like they're not leaning on each other anymore, or they haven't for a long time. And I'm like, I don't want them to separate. Please do not separate my salt and pepper shaker.
Oh, we'll see.
Well, that was fun.
At least for us, it was.
If you made it to the end, I'm not sure if we should apologize or congratulate you.
But thanks again for spending your time with us. Join us in the next podcast as we react to the next episode of Dangerous Romance.
We're hoping to post on a regular schedule, but as it's all new right now, please check out our Twitter at criticallyobs for all future posting schedules.
Bye for now. I'm Mirella.
And I'm Zoe, and we'll see you next time.